oh, that's a cool little sound clip,
right,
and editing it in
and
together.
you can go back and edit like if us and our southern twang when we're talking
the
capture
software doesn't capture the words right. Yeah, I can go back in and I can edit
and
the,
tweak
the
those.
subtitles.
Okay. Artificial intelligence has really become part of our everyday lives now. From every article you read, podcast you hear, television show, news, AI is becoming just a natural part of the evolution of technology, and it's just becoming integrated into our everyday lives. So we thought it would be a good idea to talk about how we have begun to use AI in some of our daily routines, and also just the overall thoughts behind some of the things that we've seen happening in the industry in its entirety.
Yeah, so we use AI in a couple of critical areas within our business. We've been doing it for about 6 months or so.
Yeah.
So I'm going to talk through the spaces where we use those, the spaces where we do not use AI, and kind of the future of where we see AI within our business. And then, as you mentioned, McKendrick, we're going to go back and talk about the broader picture of AI outside of our business and in the global landscape.
Yeah.
So within our business, of course, the big AI conversation, and I use that kind of to lead into it, is ChatGPT, which is the conversational AI. We have used ChatGPT for probably the longest of all the AI tools that we've consciously used.
Yeah.
And we use that for a couple of reasons. So we use ChatGPT for idea generation. So we have basic ideas of like podcasts or something that we want to do.
And for those that don't know what ChatGPT is, you need to look it up.
You need to look it
if
up.
you don't know what that is by now, you are definitely way behind.
We don't have time in this podcast to go into what ChatGPT is, but ChatGPT and Google Bard and Bing's AI counterpart all kind of do a similar idea where it's a conversational AI, and so you can give it prompts and it'll give you back results. Depending on the program, it will either give you like real-time search results like Google Bard does, or it'll give you historical data like ChatGPT.
But I mean, both are really good. I mean, I think you bring up a good point.
They serve different purposes.
They do. But yeah, that's probably the one that we've been using the longest.
Yeah. So we use that for content generation, idea generation. So we have a basic structure of what we want to do in terms of like a podcast or like a video or something, and we can put that into ChatGPT or Google Bard and refine that idea down to a point where we come up with like a list of a couple of different ideas for topics to talk about. The key thing here is that we don't use, nor do we condone using ChatGPT or Google Bard as an exclusive source for information. So like, I'm not going to ask ChatGPT to generate a script for a video or a podcast or something like that, and only use that. There's nothing wrong with asking for a script and then cross-referencing it and making it your own and making it unique. But what we don't condone is using a conversational AI to generate a script and using that exclusively as your own work.
And I think that that's a key piece of it, right? So there has to be a level of uniqueness that you want to come out as your own, even when you're using any of these artificial intelligence tools.
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm not going to get, even if it gave me a script, it's not going to be Trey-like, right? Because we know what to expect from you.
Right.
Your nuances that are different from anything else. Right.
And there's been evidence to say that like it can be detected what is written by AI and what is written by a person. And I mean, it may sound like it, like you may look at two different articles and say one is written by an AI and one is written by a person. And it's difficult for like a layman to be able to pick out the difference.
Right.
But there are subtle clues, like the AIs have habits of how they like to do things. Like if you've used ChatGPT or any of the others for any period of time, you'll have noticed like kind of likes to do the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
Like it likes to put things in certain order, or it likes to use certain elements within its speech, and those are easily detectable, and they're not always human-like. But other than that, so we use that for content generation.
Yeah.
What I really love ChatGPT and the conversational AIs for are like rephrasing of things. So I'll write something, and I'm not a writer, I'm not a journalist, I'm not trained in in writing, so I can write something in my own words and then have ChatGPT rewrite it in a way that's like I can say, correct my punctuation, correct my sentence structure in the prompts, and it can regenerate me a return that should be better than what I inputted. Now, it's different.
Yeah.
So then I can then take that and add those nuances back in that maybe it took out some things that I really wanted in it. I can manipulate it a little bit, but to have it rewrite it, to have it change the sentence structures and write it in a way that is grammatically correct and maybe better thought out than what I would do. Or if I write like maybe a strongly worded email and I want it to be toned down a little bit, I can say, ChatGPT, take this, write it in a more professional tone.
Right.
And it can rewrite it so that it's a little bit more courteous.
What have you seen as the benefits for how we're using it within our business?
Yeah, I think it's from the initial brainstorming that I use it the most. So instead of me sitting down for 30 minutes to an hour a week trying to come up with ideas for things, I can prompt it and it gives me the ideas.
Right.
And then I can go through and
you can just kind of go through that.
Gotcha. And then we can like rank them on what we want to do. So that's a huge deal. It saves time, like I mentioned, with the rewriting, proofreading and things like that. Having someone else come in and proofread it, or me coming in and proofreading. It's almost like a second set of eyes for that.
Okay.
So I definitely think it saves time, but it expands on skill sets that I don't have.
Right.
So like I'm kind of more of a get things done person, not so much of a creative. So
so it kind of allows you to kind of play in that creative space, or it
helps,
gives you a level of that creativity that may not have come out on its own.
Right.
Because your level may be lower than what you would like to display.
And it's just us on the it's just the two of us. In the business. I don't have a
team of marketing folks.
So I have to figure it out on my own. And
we are the marketing.
We are the marketing team, and I'm
the
not.
Finance team.
I'm not really.
And the
that's not
team.
my skill set. So that allows me to do that. Another one that we use quite a bit are some video editing tools. So if you've seen our Instagram Reels, you'll notice that every once in a while, like when we do like a podcast, I'll probably do one for this video, and I might use this clip as the example. But we use a program called Opus AI, OPUS AI, and it takes an entire video, a published video, and it will generate different reels and shorts out of that, and it will add subtitles into it. So that one saves me just so much time going through and editing videos into finding parts of it that, that's a cool little sound clip, and editing it in together.
And you can go back and edit, like if us and our southern twang when we're talking
the software doesn't capture the words right. I can go back in and I can edit and tweak the subtitles. But for the most part, like maybe 1 out of every 3 or 4 I have to go in and edit. Most of the time it gets it right. So that one, it's a huge time saver. There's really nothing else. Like I can do that work. I have the skills to edit and piece it together and do that work. But it saves me hours of going back.
And I think that's really the big selling point that a lot of the technology is really promoting, is how much time it saves, or how efficient or quick or ability to duplicate, right? So it can replicate certain things and do more than just one. So the time that we can do one of this certain task, AI may be able to do 2, 3, 4, 10 times as many, right?
Right. And then another one that we use that I've just started to use that I really like, it's called Otter AI. and it is a meeting notes transcription tool. It's pretty interesting, and it can do a lot of things. So it can transcribe video, it can transcribe meeting. It was designed for meetings, so like you can actually integrate it into a Google Meeting, and as you're talking on the meeting, it transcribes the notes.
Wow.
I use it a lot for like video transcription, so I can upload an audio file, and it'll transcribe, so like podcasts and things like that.
Right.
It'll transcribe the podcast for me instead of having to like, manually.
Yeah, but we wouldn't.
I wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't do it.
Yeah, there's no way.
So I can upload an audio file, and it'll transcribe.
So that's a key piece there, right? Because if you wanted to search for something in a video, and usually you're searching based on like keywords or something.
Yeah.
Now that you have it transcribed, you can actually go back and search. Search for when did I talk about shirts.
Very much so. Or you can integrate them together. The cool thing is you don't have to use AI in silos, right? You don't have to just use ChatGPT or just use Otter AI. So what I can do and what I do is I can take other people's videos. I can split the audio file.
Oh yeah.
I can then input the audio file into Otter AI, and then I can have Otter AI give me out a transcript, put it in ChatGPT, and say, "Hey, ChatGPT, summarize this video for me."
Right.
And then I saved 20 minutes.
Yep.
Or what if it's like an hour lecture, and I want to give me the highlights, or like a 2-hour podcast that I'm really interested in this information, but I don't have 2 hours to sit down and listen to a podcast.
Right.
I can strip the audio, put it in Otter AI, get the transcript, put it in ChatGPT, and say, "Hey, ChatGPT, give me the 5 key points of this talk."
Right.
And boom, boop, doop, doop, doop. Right.
Yeah.
So use them independently, but use them in silos. And there's a ton more. I mean, we use just little things every day, just as it's incorporated into software.
I would even ask, or if there's anyone out there that has any other tools that they're using in the AI space that you have found benefit, put them in the comment section so that we know, what they are, and we can, others can see and share with those other AI tools that are out there that people are using.
So we're going to transition. So that was the business side of it.
Yep.
So what is the greater implications of AI within business? So of course there's the threat of human job loss as a result of AI.
Right.
So I did want to, before we transition into what we think about AI, I did want to mention that we don't use AI in situations where human input is valued over content creation, right? And what I mean by that is anything where I think that it is valuable to have human creativity involved, I wouldn't use AI. Something that I would pay for, something that I value human emotion in, so things like music and art, I do not use AI to generate music and art. I either do that all by myself, like if I'm trying to do something that is affordable for our social media and I can't afford to pay someone to do that, I do it all myself without AI. If it's something that I think needs a level of expertise beyond what I'm capable of, I pay someone to do it. I don't use an AI art generator.
And that's
and that to me is my line. That's my line.
Yeah.
I'm not criticizing anyone that does that, because I understand that things are advancing.
Yeah.
But that's my line for me right now, is that I value the human touch in art.
Yes, and I think a lot of people do. But, of course, like everything else, right? Once certain things are out there, they get into the wrong hands, people are going to take advantage of them some way, shape, or form, which is why I think it's an important discussion to have, just understanding that AI is here to stay. I think the leap is being compared to the launch of the internet originally, but I think it is secondary to that. I think the explosion of and the creation of the internet in the beginning was such a huge leap from where it came from to what it became, versus AI and the evolution of the internet and the changes that are happening in that space. It was coming, it was forthcoming anyway, right? So I don't know that it has the same impact as the invention of the internet, but AI is here to stay, and I think that it has a lot of pros and cons, and it's all about how you use it at the end of the day, right? So, I mean, for me, I listen to a lot of, different podcasts, music, news, because I'm usually kind of in the truck doing some deliveries for our business. And the interesting one that I did read about or hear about was the FDA approval for Neuralink, which is Elon Musk's business that he has. And he got approval from the FDA to start doing human trials for the microchip for people who have paralysis.
Yeah.
And what was the other? I forget what the other
Alzheimer's?
was. I think it was Alzheimer's, yeah. So that's interesting because, again, I think the benefits of it can be significant. But I also think about, these are microchips that got FDA approval to be placed in the brain, right? But it will allow functionality of people who've been paralyzed.
It's a relay to like a computer.
To
right?
a computer,
so
correct.
The
right?
person
Or
will be able
phone.
to use their brain to tell
Right.
the computer or the phone to
Right,
do something.
right.
They still won't be able to move. Like, it doesn't resolve paralysis.
Correct.
But it gives them a link.
A way to communicate.
A way of communication.
So I think that is like...
It sounds great, right?
It does, but again, when or if it gets into the wrong hands or if some type of misuse happens,
Yeah.
what's the control mechanism that's going to be in place that would prevent that, right?
Yeah.
So things like that are where the concern comes into play when you start talking about the continued advancement of AI. Like the things that we're doing now, I think are great. It's helping our business grow, and there's a lot of people using AI in different ways. The whole microchip and FDA approval is probably the way other extreme of where AI is,
Yeah.
and that where the technology is going. And I think that there's likely going to be more concerns with those type of activities than it is at the small business entrepreneur level, like what we're using it for.
Right. I think it would be ignorant to ignore the advances of AI within business. It's here to stay. Like, there's nothing that's going to take back for those of us that use it and see the benefits of it. There's nothing that's going to take it back.
No.
And so I think that, yes, I understand there's going to be an impact on jobs. Okay, absolutely agree. The internet had impact on jobs. Every technological advancement has impacts on human jobs. I understand. So that's why I think it's important for us to accept it and recognize it and start training around it so that you can find jobs and incorporate businesses around AI instead of try to block it or try to resist it. Right?
Yeah.
But on the converse of that, absolutely, to McKendrick's point, on the cutting edge aspects of AI, there are a lot of really great, really well-meaning ideas.
Yeah.
The Neuralink one, I think, is great. I mean, if you went up to anyone and said, I want to help those that are paralyzed and those that have Alzheimer's be able to communicate, I don't think anybody in this world
Is going to
say no.
That's a terrible idea.
That's a terrible idea. It's a great idea. But we have to think of all of the, and I hate to get like this, but like all of the evil in the world and how that can be used for the negative. And we're not going to go into a lot of the implications of that specific technology, but there's got to be some conversations, there's got to be some regulation over this. And I'm not a big fan of regulation, like on the whole, but in some things that are so impactful that go beyond country borders or even like global borders, like it's incorporated into everything. Or it could be.
At some point it will be, right? There's just no stopping. Like it's limitless at this point where AI will go.
So I'm on the side of acceptance and understanding, and the more that we get involved and use it, the more we can understand what regulations need to take place.
Agree.
As opposed to just saying, no, we shouldn't do it, because we understand that there's so much time and money invested in these programs that they're not going away.
They're not.
And so to say, let's block it, let's not do anything with it, it's just going to let those that are willing to push forward have more of an open space or less testing and less human interaction with their softwares that could lead to some issues.
Yeah. So I mean,
getting in the wrong hands.
To your point, I think we got to get as much, I would say, ahead of it, but I don't know if ahead of is the right terminology for it. But I mean, there's going to be jobs that are going to be created as a result of AI as well, right? So you need to learn about prompt engineering and things of that nature. Yeah. So I think that's the space that I think probably needs the most attention, right? Just to learn, embrace, try to get ahead of it as much as you can. It's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. So I mean, I kind of feel the same. Like it's gonna be here. So I think is how do we position ourselves to have the right level of control around it and using it to our benefit, just like everything else. Like spam phone calls and people who are out sending emails to get your money. By saying they got somebody in your family captive in a third world country, please send money to this bank account. There's going to be people out there that are going to take advantage of every opportunity to do something bad or to some type of gain in a illegal way, and AI will not be any different. It's a tool that people are going to use to try to take advantage. But I would say we still have to do our due diligence to learn as much as we can, use it to our advantage. Like I said, we're a small business. We're using it in ways to help make our business more efficient, and I think that's the space that we
because
operate
you
in.
have to. Like, there's no choice at this point. Like the days of mom and pop walk-in shops are gone. Like, you have to have this appearance of being put together, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Even though it's the two of us, if you go to a website and it looks like it was made by someone that doesn't design a website, you're not going to buy anything.
Yeah, right.
If it doesn't have a chat bot down at the bottom that says,
right,
I'm here to help you, that's AI,
these
guys.
are standard.
Like, that's
I mean, AI's been around for a while. It's just like,
so, I mean,
it's really advancing rapidly.
It's one of those things that if you don't embrace that as a small business, you're going to lose sales. Yeah. You're gonna look like you're a smaller business than you are, and a lot of it's about perception, and a lot of it's about trust, especially when you're talking about e-commerce. And so to be able to do that, but to be able to afford to do that, you have to use the AI tools. And luckily for us, I mean, a lot of them, I think, let's see, 2 out of the 3 that I mentioned, ChatGPT and Google Bard, as well as the Otter program Otter AI that I use, are free.
Yeah.
The Opus AI had a free trial, the one that we use for the video editing, and I liked it so much that I ended up spending some money there. But it's very affordable. I mean, for what it does, and for the amount of time. Like, if I were to hire a video editor to do that, and to spend their time doing that, it's much cheaper than having someone hired to do that.